Today, I want to talk about a critically important component of running a business. So, if you're a CEO or owner of a small to medium sized enterprise and you are struggling hiring the right sales talent for your organization, today I'm talking directly to you. And I want to talk about building an effective strategy and process for hiring the right sales talent so that you can take your business forward and meet your revenue goals for the year. This is something that when I'm working with my clients, I often see is underdeveloped, and it causes a lot of problems because if you hire the wrong salesperson, you're not going to get the results that you want, and it's often going to create even more challenges for your business. So let's talk about some of the steps necessary to build an effective strategy to hiring the right salespeople for your team. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to create an ideal candidate profile. You need to spend some time to think about what are the attributes that are necessary in an individual where they will be successful in this type of sale. So spending some time to really identify what that day looks like for that salesperson, what type of qualities that person will have, and building out a really strong ideal candidate profile with key attributes, required attributes, and nice to have attributes of an individual that you want that will be successful. You can do this by interviewing people that have sold for you in the past that have been very successful. You obviously know your business yourself, so you'll know some of the things that need to happen to make it very successful. You have to build a nice, robust, ideal candidate profile. So before you even start interviewing, you know exactly what you're looking for. Okay. Once you've got that figured out, you need to then figure out who is going to actually be sourcing the leads and the candidates for you. So you might have an internal HR team that is able to do this. You might need to hire a recruiting agency. But what you do need to realize is that most good salespeople already have a job. So you can't just post this on Monster or Indeed or any sort of platform like that and anticipate that you're going to get a lot of really good candidates, because odds are is you're not, right? You might get lucky, there might be a candidate out there, but the reality is most good salespeople have a job. Otherwise, they're probably not a great salesperson. So you have to identify who is going to find those leads. And it's a full-time job, right? You have to call, reach out on LinkedIn, create interest, and really sell candidates on why should they consider working for your organization instead of the organization that they're likely already having success in. In addition to that, you have to really build a robust process for your interviewing questions. So in that interview process, you need to determine how many interviews should we have, right? Who are the key individuals that need to get involved with this interview process so that we can effectively vet out the candidates? And what do those interview guides look like? What are the questions that you're asking? You have to make sure those questions are very intentional to help you uncover, does this candidate have the traits that we've already identified in our ideal candidate profile? So you have to have a process of 2 or 3 interviews, identify who those people are, identify what that timeline should look like, because again, if you're a candidate and if you're a sales candidate and you're highly sought after, you don't want that process to take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So it's got to be efficient, but it's also got to be thorough. Do you want to have a job shadow as a part of that interview process? It's a very important component in a lot of cases. Have them spend time with a sales rep in the field to see what the job looks like for a couple of hours, or maybe they sit down and shadow during a call session. Those are things to consider. So you have to build a strong interview process that'll really allow you to get to know this candidate as much as possible, and if they truly possess the traits that you're looking for. Salespeople, unfortunately, as we all know, they're good at selling themselves, and that interview process really needs to vet out the truth behind whether they actually have demonstrated success in the behaviors that you need to see moving forward. Once you've completed your interview process and everyone in your organization has interviewed the candidate, you then need to get together and actually evaluate that candidate directly against the details and the criteria that you've set aside in your ideal candidate profile. And you rank them. Do they have them? Do they not have them? You don't want to get stuck in a position where I really liked that candidate. I really liked him. right? Or her. And that's great. But more importantly, do they actually have the attributes that you need to be successful? So measure that candidate based on your robust interview guides and the questions against the ideal candidate profile that you put together. And if you decide this individual is a fit for an organization, then you want to make sure you do reference checks. Now, reference checks should be created by you. You should ask them who you want to do a referral. Everyone's going to give you their references. They're going to tell you that here's my top 3 references. It could be a friend, it could be someone else. Often it's not the person that you want to talk to, right? Their past employer, who were they reported directly to. If you're hiring them, you want to know what that individual's experience was with that individual. So you need to determine who those references are, get those references. And if they refuse to give you those references, that's an automatic red flag right there. So determine who the right people are that you would like to speak to validate what you heard in the interview process. Check those references and make sure that they're satisfactory to you, and then you can proceed with an offer. So those are some of the things to think about with your interview process. I hope that helps. Cheers.